This after Chairperson Sizwe Nxasana resigned from the student financial aid body after 3 years at the helm. Nxasana informed the minister of his decision on Monday, citing extreme strain and a challenging few years. Last month, the minister ordered the body to halt funding applications for next year due to a backlog in the allocations of funds. Joining us from our Pretoria studio is the Minister of Higher Education, Naledi Pandor. Good evening, Minister. A meeting was held today. What was the aim of the meeting and what was the outcome?
Good evening. I think, let me clarify that what we said was applications should not be opened on the 1st of August. There's some sensation that is being created that students will not be funded for 2019. They will be funded. The board meeting today went exceptionally well. The board has elected a chairperson who I have confirmed appointment of, Professor Neil Garrett, who's a Deputy Vice Chancellor at Central University of Technology. I also informed the board that I intend to appoint an administrator to oversee the management and administration of NSFAS, and that when that occurs in the next week or two, the board will be dissolved in order to allow us to then have a smooth process of administering the institution. The board fully supported my decision and in fact said they had come to the meeting to request that there be an administrator appointed. I'm most grateful for their support, as I am for the board members who have now who left the board. So all of them are committed to us servicing our students and ensuring that we have a seamless institution that provides for the needs of our students.
Now, recently you have criticized NSFAS leadership for centralizing the distribution of student funding. Why the criticism?
Well, what happened was NSFAS began by piloting what is called a student-centered model. That is a direct application by students to the institution. The process they introduced was piloted in a few universities and a few colleges. After a very short pilot term, they then in 2017 decided to use this method for all institutions, and suddenly the system could not cope. So a huge backlog developed, and we were unable to process the applications and disperse funding to students. The bypassing of institutions meant there was no compatibility between data institutions had and NSFAS had. So all of these systems matters need to be addressed, and we've been addressing them. Many more students are now receiving funding. Of course, the board supported us in that, as did officials from my department and from universities and TVET colleges. I believe with the appointment of an administrator, we will have an individual who will assist us to get systems right, to get processes right, and to ensure that NSFAS is able to do the tasks that it should.
Now, you have given us a brief process of the handover process, as you've mentioned, that was discussed in the meeting today. You also mentioned that some NSFAS beneficiaries and some students will not be left destitute. But the South African Union of Students, or Lwandile Mcholo, has said that both the board and its management has starved scores of NSFAS beneficiaries. Are they now left out are they destitute, or what is the way forward?
From the latest report that I have from the board, there remain a small number of students who are without funding, and we address this backlog from day to day. What I now want to see is the development of a system which will ensure that we close off 2017, we close off 2018, and we don't have a repetition of the problems that we have had. I also want us to prepare for the opening of applications from the beginning of September this year. This is what I'm now focused on. That's what myself and the administrator and my team in the department will be working toward, because that is the critical objective we must pursue.
And one last question, how do we make sure that moving forward, going to 2019 when we have a new intake of students who are NSFAS beneficiaries, how do we now make sure that this does not repeat itself?
Well, this is exactly what we're going to be working towards. As I've said, a large part of our problem is the inability to match data, to check whether the applicants are deserving beneficiaries, to ensure that they're registered in institutions, that they receive the right allowances. There's digital technology that will allow us to overcome this problem. But what you need is a leadership in the institution that can ensure that these things happen. It's for that reason that the law allows for the appointment of an administrator. And my intention is that we should overcome these problems. No student should find themselves without allowances, unable to eat, unable to study properly because they don't have books. These are terrible things that should not have happened, and we are giving every effort to ensuring we overcome this problem.
Thank you so much, Minister Pandor. That was South Africa's Minister of Higher Education, Naledi Pandor, talking to us about the NSFAS crisis, saying that they definitely